So in this video, we're going to go ahead and install Python for a Linux machine. So if you're actually running Windows or you're running a Mac, do refer to the separate videos in the separate section in this course, and you'll see that there's some videos that have been set up just for you. But if you're running Linux, let's continue. So the first thing to notice is that actually most, as it turns out, Linux distributions actually ship with Python already. So more than likely, as of the date of recording this video, you've actually probably got Python 3.4 on your system if you've got a relatively new build of Linux. And there's actually already planning on many distros to actually upgrade to 3.5. So you don't actually really need to actually go ahead and install Python as such. But what we want to do is actually check what version we've got running, and then also there's actually an associated utility that we do want to actually install. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to the command prompt first. I can do this on Ubuntu by just clicking on the button and then typing in terminal, choosing terminal. So the first thing I can actually do is type Python 3 space minus version, and that will actually tell us what version of Python we're running. So you can see it's come up for me and said Python 3.4.3. Now that's fine, although we actually do use Python 3.5 in the course, 3.4 will actually be fine. There'll be no problems, and you'll actually find in time the distro will actually automatically update to Python 3.5 anyway. And there's actually also an issue, so you need to actually be pretty careful because Python is actually used quite heavily with the GUI, and so if you actually uninstall Python or try and upgrade and then install, you can actually break your Linux system, and can result in a system that hasn't got a graphical user interface anymore and is also not easy to recover from. So for that reason, our recommendation is to stick with Python 3.4, and just to check over time, and you should see that it'll be updated anyway, and you'll eventually get there. And really, Python 3.4 is well and truly updated enough for you to get the most out of this course anyway. But what we do want to do is actually run some software called idle. And we'll actually be seeing how to use that in the next video, but we need to actually check to see whether that's installed. Now, without going into too much detail, idle itself is a program that enables you to actually edit programs, and we won't be using that in detail, but it is useful to actually learn what it is and how to use it. So we want to actually check to see whether it's actually installed. So to do that, we can actually just type at the command prompt idle3, IDLE3. And if you get an error like that, the program idle is currently not installed, it means obviously it hasn't been installed. So there's two options to get it. You can actually type the command they're actually saying there on the screen, or you can also, if you like, go to the software update on Ubuntu or whatever distro you're actually running, and you can actually get it from there. So we can actually do a search for idle3, and this is the one there. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm actually going to go ahead and install that now. Type in my password. And you can see that's installing. And just out of interest, if you're not running Ubuntu from the command line, if you're using a Debian-based distro, then you'd probably type, as I showed you on the screen, sudo apt-get install idle3. And if you're running Red Hat or Fedora, you'd probably do something like this, sudo yum install Python 3 tools, and that will do the equivalent thing for you. That's not for Ubuntu though. But in this particular case, we've already got Python installed, and idle3 we've now installed in Ubuntu on this video. So we should actually now be able to run this and actually see if it works. So we can type idle3, and you can see now over to the right-hand side of the screen, we've actually got Python 3.4.3 shell up, and that's actually the idle3 interface, which enables us to type in some Python code. And as I mentioned, we'll be learning more about that in the next video. And just another important thing before I finish off, you do want to make sure that you're actually running idle3, and in actual fact, you've got Python 3 and above, or 3.4 and above actually installed. Because some, I'll close this down, some distributions have actually got the older version of Python. And again, we can see that by typing Python 3-version. You can actually type Python. So this computer system has also got Python 2 installed as well. This course actually needs version 3.4 and higher. So you do want to make sure that you've actually got Python 3.4 and higher installed. And the two versions can quite safely coexist, as you can see on my screen there now. And the thing is to check with that idle. If you actually just type idle without the 3 in the end, you're actually getting the older version of IDLE, which is compatible with the Python 2.7. And for reasons that we'll discuss later in the course, we're not recommending you actually use Python 2.7. So do make sure that you're updated to 3.4. And again, most modern distros have got 3.4 as a default. And as we progress towards the end of 2015, and if we're in actually 2016 when you're watching this, you'll find that probably more than likely Python 3.5 will be the default for pretty well all distros anyway. So do make sure you're actually running the right version. All right, well that's it. I'm going to end this video here now. And in the next video, we're going to actually just play around a little bit with IDLE and have a look at it and what it means, what it is, and how to use it. So I'll see you in the next video.